Hello and welcome along to the final ever FM21 video on this channel with me, Daniel. We're back today, 5 years in the future with Bangor City from our Build a Nation save. And we're going to see how far they've declined or progressed and how far Welsh football has done the same. I'm imagining declined will be the right way, and we can see from this screen already that Barrytown United have got a job up for grabs. So if you're looking forward to finding out what's happened since we've left, as we return on the 1st of June 2045, please do put a thumbs up on the video, subscribe down below for daily content from FM22 as soon as the beta's released, and don't you worry about next week. Don't think there's going to be nothing on the channel. There's a couple of little surprises as well, so I hope you'll come and check those videos out too. And a massive thank you for watching as always. Turn that notification bell on to stay up to date. And you can find the Twitch channel in the eye above too, because next week we're going to have loads of live stream football watch-alongs. So if you're bored waiting for the release of the new game, then come and join us for a bit of fun over there. But today we're going to do a few things. We're going to look at Bangor City, Welsh football, world football a little bit more broadly. And I want to start by having a look at my own profile, because obviously we resigned 5 years ago. We've not had a job since. I want to see what impact that's had. So let's go to our profile and see how far our reputation has dropped. Not at all, really. I guess we did a wonderful job there, but still, I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't lost anything whatsoever. Our attributes are still exceptional. Our characteristics are still largely the same. Weirdly, Hector Bellerin has decided to hate us in the last 5 years. Not sure what's caused that. And more of our former players have moved into management. Salem Al-Zabad, Morgan Boys, Dean Rogers, another one there too. So quite a few that have got a good opinion of us just by the fact they played with us before. But I didn't expect that to stay that strong. So perhaps unrealistic, or perhaps just an acknowledgement of what we've done. I guess like if you compare it to say a Sir Alex at United or a Wenger at Arsenal, that reputation doesn't wane after a few years. You're still known as doing that job over 2 decades. However, I'm wondering if the same will be able to be said about Bangor City. I'm almost dreading going to look at this. So before I do, I want to tell you what I'm expecting. I am expecting Bangor City and Welsh football to have declined a bit. I'd still expect Wales to be in the top 15 of the coefficients because they were in too good a position not to be. I would expect Bangor City to have sold virtually all of their young stars. My hope is that they didn't all go the first summer and that potentially they got good money for them. Like we know Kean Bulkley had a 27.5 million release clause. When I was there, the likes of Kyo Bulkley, Mubarak, Whelan, whatever, we were getting 40, 50, 60 million pound bids. So surely they've taken advantage of that if they have sold players. And then they should be able to bring in a very good set of replacements. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's go and have a look. I'm quite nervous about this because I'm just waiting and kind of dreading the fact that there might be a situation where all of our hard work's been undone. So let's cross our fingers and hope not. Bangor City are still winning the league every year. Still rich, still a 3.5-star reputation club. Andre Lima's in charge, who I'm pretty sure was at Colwyn Bay at the end of the save. He was. He then moved to TNS and went to Bangor City last year, so they've had more than one manager since. Got very good attributes though, at 60 years of age. I was going to say let's have a look at the key players, but a couple of surprises immediately, which might be a good thing. Top goal scorer with 26, Bojan Kvara, still there at 28 years of age. That's very impressive. And Roberto Simancas, captain at 32, still there. That's very impressive. What isn't impressive is I can see Europa League season stats there, and 7 games would suggest they haven't been in the Champions League. Potentially a problem on that front. The rest of the players I don't recognise. Should we have a look at the key player, Bradley Mead? He's pretty good. Very similar stats to Kean Bulkley when we left, but it would suggest that those sorts of players aren't there, and he's only on loan, so that might not be a positive after all. Let's start though, before we do anything else, with the transfer centre, because I want to go back to 2040 and see how many were sold in that first summer. Well, worrying sign is at the end of the season we left, before the Welsh transfer window even opened, Jason Odell had gone. However, they did get 10 million for him, so that might not be the worst deal in the world. A 10 million profit over 1 year. So the first full season in charge without us. Oh no. Oh, they've sold them for peanuts. Kean Bulkley, they didn't even get the release clause. Kyo Bulkley and Mubarak Whelan, they've sold for half the amount of the offers we were getting. They've even sold Dean Simmons for more. Oh, He's not a youth player. They've sold Kellum Fletcher for £6 million. Are you kidding me? He's a starting England international. And they've sold him for £6 million. Aid Tate's gone as well, as is Nenov. The whole squad was just turned away before the season even started. So the first summer, they sold both Bulkleys, Mubarak Whelan, Dimitar Nenov, Aid Tate and Jason Odell. Got in 2 players on loan as replacements. Right, 133 million bought in. That lot should have been about 250 at least. But there you go. And they've not spent a penny of it. Isn't a good sign. And shows, you used to moan about my transfer strategy. I wasn't that tight. Let's move on to the second season. I'm going to hate this, aren't I? There's still a few stars about. How much longer? That year's not so bad. So they've sold the likes of Briones and Waters, who was getting a bit older. Agost was the backup keeper. But that would suggest that the likes of Brett Jennings was still there. I'm trying to think who else was superstar in that team. Maybe the likes of Danny Gomez Garcia, Nathan Roberts coming through. Tom Jones will have obviously still been there, but it's still not great, is it? They spent, 26.5 million on Helder Martins. Now, he was getting on a bit before we finished our save against Wraith Rovers. 34. So 4 years before that, he would have been 30. They've paid £27 million for a 30-year-old. Xavier Postigo, 17.5. He would have been 29 as well. This is the thing that has frustrated me the most in this Builder Nation. The recruitment across all of Wales has been utterly diabolical. And I'm really struggling to understand how not one club... I mean, we've got great directors of football and scouts that we left at Bangor City. How have they been disintegrated that quickly and then replaced them with that lot? Let's move on to season 3. Did any of the other stars go? No, so no big sales that year. Nobody leaving there. Well, only a couple of signings, though Charlie Jones, I tried to sign him, I think. He's a quality young player. Yeah, so that's a great free agent deal, but you can see he's gone again since. Then signing players from Colwyn Bay, it doesn't really add up. It's basically catastrophic. I can't see that they've achieved much in this save. The next year is... Oh, there he is. There's Brett Jennings. 17 million to West Ham. Charlie Jones going for 10 million. The man they got 3 the year before. They sold Helder Martins for 2 million. Who they'd signed for 26. Oh, I nearly missed Nathan Roberts. £6 million. He was the best youngster we ever got. And he's not really improved much. But why have they sold him for £6 million? Oh, wow. I didn't expect it to be this bad. I knew in my heart that all of these players would have been sold. But I genuinely thought they'd at least get face value for them. They're getting less than their valuation. Why? They were getting offers of double the amount. They've spent over 20 million on a player again, this time Serkan Kilic. He's a little bit better, but he's not a £20 million player. And again, he would have been 31 when they signed him. I'm so upset by it. Last season, 60 million, someone's got to have gone. Oh, so it's 2 of the players they signed at the start. Ludovic Dumas and Thomas Casa going for 26 each. I'm not far off speechless. I'm devastated by it. They're making a profit again in the transfer window. So let's go and have a look at the squad and see what's left apart from Kavara and Simancas. I don't remember seeing Danny Gomez Garcia, so he might still be there. Can't think of anyone else. Let's have a look at the squad. So Gomez Garcia is still there. Gethin Davis is still there. So Gomez Garcia now 32. Davis now 29. Jack Chapman's still there, but he was a very backup player. And that's about it, I think. They've got a first teamer in there as well. Still producing good youngsters. But that is so disappointing. I actually had a little bit of hope when I saw Kavara and Simancas still there on the first screen, but that has gone very wrong. And that Aaron Johnson is playing in goal for them. That says an awful lot. It's a huge fall from grace. Let's see how they've done in Europe without us. This season, went out in Champions League qualifying, and hang on, they've been winning the league and they're in the 3rd qualifying round of the Champions League. That means they're definitely out of the top 12 of the coefficient. Europa League group stages, got through to the Europa League knockout and lost to Celtic in the first round. Not great. The year before that, Champions League group stages. So they only dropped out last year. But that would suggest that that was the last year of our ranking that came off, isn't it? So they're probably just falling very quickly. Didn't get through the group stages to anything there. The year before that, got to the Champions League first knockout round but lost to Barcelona. That's acceptable. The year before that, Champions League group stages, nothing. The coefficient has dropped so quick. First season, Champions League. How did they do? They didn't get past 4th place. And I guess it's because they sold half their players, didn't they? They got a point off Raith Rovers, who were in their group yet again, but what a way to ruin 20 years of hard work. As I said before, I can understand the players going, but like Kean Bulkley had a minimum fee release that was essentially his value, and they still sold him for less. I cannot get over that. Let's go and have a look at the facilities quickly, and then we'll go to the other clubs, because I think I might drive myself insane if I look for any longer. So, still at Namporth, still got very good facilities and everything, but it looks like the training and youth facilities have dropped off once again, and they haven't been re-upgraded, so a slight decline as well, but they've kept their reputation, which seems a little surprising given their European performance. Let's move back to the Welsh Premier League then. Still above the Championship, but dropped down, which would suggest it's maybe become a 3-star league again. Yes, it has. It dropped big time last year. So that would suggest the other clubs haven't done that well. Barlow won the European playoff, so they must be the 5th side in. Only 4. Oh, that's catastrophic. That would suggest they're not even in the top 15 of the European nation coefficients. How have they fallen that far? Let's have a look at TNS, because Bangor City did still go invincible, so the rest must be a bit weaker. TNS star player Ian Jones, 28 years of age. It's a good striker and a step up from what they had before, but not world class. I'm pretty sure both Mitchell and Eccles were there when we finished our save, so they've held on to their players a lot better. Again, since we've left, have managed to finish second every year, so they probably started investing after we went. They got any other players we recognise? Yeah, so quite a few still there actually. Josh Astley, Fabio Simoncini was a good player, Pegram the goalkeeper, but no massive upgrades by the looks of it. Let's have a look at their transfers. I want to see what they've been spending. This year, 100 grand. Bought players in from Bangor City, though. That's a positive. And selling players for big money. Year before that, I just want to see how much they've spent. Oh, wow. They spent 2.8 million in 2042 on one player. Lloyd Barrington. Not bad. A step up from what they had when we were there. They bought Chris Broom in as well, from Crawley. The Chris Broom. And now he's at Swansea University. It seems like it's all kicked off for TNS just after we left. The year before that, over £1 million on a Colwyn Bay player. It's a good player, but I'm not sure they should be spending all that money domestically. And then the first year after we left, they spent over £2 million. Why couldn't they do that when we were there? He's a good player. Smeaker was the second biggest. He's a good player. So it looks like as soon as we left, it was the kick up the backside the New Saints needed. Maybe they knew they had a chance again, I don't know. Let's have a look at their European performances. They were Europa League this season. How did they get on after that? Hang on a minute. This season TNS got to the Europa Conference semi-final. Yes, they had a lovely draw all the way through, but they got to the semi-final against Valencia. TNS are flying the European flag. First season after that, Europa League group stages, not great. They got a few points there, didn't they? How many games did they win? Oh, it was only 4 points. Season before that, Europa League group stages, nothing else. So it's the lack of reaching the knockouts that has definitely cost a few of these sides. The year before that, though, Europa Conference second knockout round, lost narrowly to West Ham. And the year before that, Europa Conference second knockout round, lost narrowly to Nordsjælland. So they've probably done better than Bangor City in truth. Pretty impressed with TNS. Colwyn Bay, the third side, which I'm really struggling to understand. Why were they in the European Places playoff? They've lost it when they were third in the table. It can't be that bad in Wales, can it? I mean, we had 4 places at the start near enough, didn't we? Colwyn Bay, third place. Barrytown United seem to have dropped off a lot. They finished third all of the last 3 seasons. 2.5-star reputation. Their key player is Keith McLaughlin. He is very good. Worth £3.6 million. Colwyn Bay have got very good players there. Is that the Tom Jones as well? That's our Tom Jones. I mean, he's declined very quickly in his early 30s and got a big hip injury there. But they got him, what, 4 years ago? So that's only a year after we left in his 20s. That's impressive too. It's annoying considering how much we tried to flog Tom Jones to other Welsh clubs in our final season, but regardless, it's still a good effort. Artem Volodin was top goal scorer. He's not so good. Most assists, Robert Shaw. He's not bad. Let's have a look at the players. Anyone else that we still recognise from the start? I don't think so, really, out of the 5 years. Let's see what they've been spending. This year, got Jack Delaney in from Barry. Otherwise, spent 1.4 million. Really improving the squad still. And getting good players in on free. Sorry, that was the first season, 1.4 million. Second year, 1.9 million. Made a slight profit. Sold one player for 1.1 million to TNS and then bought in a whole stream of players instead. The third season, 2.7 million. Spent 1.7 on Mark Dempster, a Northern Irish goalkeeper. These clubs have started going big. 625 grand a year before last, and in this season, a pretty poor year in truth, but still, that's one hell of an effort. Why was this not happening when we were in charge of Bangor City? I don't understand. I feel like I want to go back and manage it myself now for a bit and see what happens. Let's finish by seeing how they got on in Europe. This year, out in the qualifiers. Last year, Europa League group stages. Won the playoff against Westerlo. Didn't get through the groups though. The year before that, out in the first qualifier. That's not good enough. Grays at AK. Gotta be winning that. Year before, Europa Conference group stages. Knocked out in the first knockout round. And the year before that, the year after we left, out in third qualifying round. So really dropped European-wise very quickly, which is a massive concern for Welsh football. Now, let me have a quick look at Carmarthen's first year, because they finished 4th the season that we left off. They got to the Europa Conference group stages and picked up a couple of points, but not good enough. Let's see what's happened to Barrytown United. Their key player is Bala, who is a good goalkeeper. I don't really recognise any of their names, so it suggests they've had a fire sale at some point. We have a look at them in Europe. Qualifiers this year. I mean, this has been the harm, isn't it? Since they've gone to the qualifiers the last couple of years, the Welsh sides aren't making it. They had one spell in the European Conference League. They lost in qualifying the second season, and the first year, Europa League group stages. Got to the Europa Conference first knockout and lost. Very, very disappointing on the pitch. Let me just see what Barry have been spending. This year, 1.2 million. And they were out in the first qualifier in Europe. And again, signing players from Bangor City, who are decent. Signing players from TNS. Signing David Johnson from Colwyn Bay. Why are they struggling so much? Year before that, didn't spend anything. Year before that, 650 grand. I think the difference between them and Colwyn Bay is instead of improving the whole squad, they just buy 1 or 2 players. And they've not spent their money well at all there. The first year after we left, they only spent 300 grand. And it's all very predictable when it comes to the other clubs. What isn't predictable is the fact that Bangor City, some years are spending less than them and have completely dismantled their squad for next to no value for money. I'm almost tempted, and let me know in the comments if you want to see this, because I will do it next week if you want to. I'm almost tempted to go back to when I was in charge of Bangor City at the end of the 20th season, sell all of the star players, but get proper value for them. So sell them for like the combined 250, 300 million they should be going for, and then holiday 5 years to see what Bangor City have done with big money. Because I know they'll probably still spend it on dross, but at least it'll get a bit of money into them and into the league. I really don't understand how some of those players were sold so cheap, but regardless, we won't have a look at that for now. Let me just see if Bangor City have been doing a clean sweep of the cups as well. No, only 2 Welsh Cups, 3 League Cups and 3 SPFL Trust trophies. So Barry and Colwyn Bay have each got a Welsh Cup, the League Cup, Barry and TNS. So again, TNS not the ones taking advantage. SPFL Trust Trophy, Larne and Ross County. It's Barry Town United and Colwyn Bay winning the trophies. TNS continue to disappoint. Right, let's have a quick look at England because I don't want to make it take too long. But if we do the English Premier Division, just see if there's any big shocks. Leeds, Premier League champions 2 years in a row. And hang on a minute. There's 9 sides in Europe from England. I'm guessing someone's won all 3 European competitions because that's the only way I can think it would be possible. You can see there, Sheffield Wednesday still competing top end of the Premier League. Burnley 8th, Newcastle up there. Surely will be an FM22 now. That's interesting. Let's have a look at the Championship. Playoff final won by Leicester. Up with Wolves and West Brom. There's no huge shocks again, is there? Into League One. Who won the playoff final? Blackburn Rovers back up to the Championship. My club Luton Town aren't there. I'm starting to get a bit concerned. No massive shocks in the relegation zone. York and Solihull Moors still going in League One. So York probably still the biggest story of the save. Maybe Solihull, depending on where you rank the size of the club. Basingstoke lost the League Two playoff final. That's a turn up for the books. They're not in the playable leagues at the start. Northampton and Barnet go down. Any other big shocks in there? I guess Chester started in the National League North, but aside with EFL experience in their former version. And the rest of League Two, Luton Town in 8th place. Disappointed by that. Let's go down to the National League. Stevenage beat Aldershot in the final. But what about the rest of them? Any League One clubs down there? Tranmere, I guess, a little bit of a surprise again. Torquay relegated from it. Barrow the same again. I think every time we've done a 5-year bookmark, Barrow are getting relegated from the National League. Harrogate in there as well. They started in League Two. Again, I wouldn't say anything huge though. Salford, the money ran out and they've struggled ever since. Let's go to the North because that had a few shocks in last time. Mansfield are still there 5 years later. I will say, St Albans, which is south of Luton and heading towards London, is in the National League North, which is suggesting there might be a few more southern sides that have dropped down than normal. Let's go and have a look at the National League South. Dulwich Hamlet win the final. Gillingham win the title, so they're finally moving back up. They've dropped 3 divisions from the start till there. I don't see anything else that's a huge surprise in that division. The FA Cups have been won by Leeds twice. Leeds are becoming a dominant force in England. Not won a League Cup, but that's not going to any of the big sides really anymore. Champions League actually won by Barcelona, so not so much that 3 English sides have won the competitions. Just looking at Leeds, they finished second the 2 years before. Their key player is genuinely world class. Linfield still in the Champions League group stages, so it looks like Northern Ireland has overtaken Wales. Chelsea won the Europa League. Europa Conference won by Sheffield Wednesday. And I just want to have a look at the Scottish Premiership just to see if Raith have still been up there. No, 5 in a row for Rangers. Raith dropping down a little bit now, so maybe their spell is over. Let's finish off very quickly though by having a look at the coefficients. I don't want to do it because I'm dreading it, which is why I've left it till last. Let's see how far Wales has dropped. Oh, wow. So our last year, the 39-40 season, is coming off now, which is a 9.6 year. They've not got more than 5 points something any year since. They're behind Cyprus, man. Come on. I don't understand. Let's have a look at the qualification places. That puts Wales, 1 team in the Champions Path, first qualifying round. So next season, one side's going to have to go all the way through. It's basically back to what it was near the start. Let's very quickly look at the club ones as well, because I'd imagine Bangor City have just dropped like a stone. They are now 31st, so they've not gone too far, but look at our last year compared to every year bar one since. TNS have recovered a little bit this year. They might overtake Bangor City soon, the way they're going at the minute. Colwyn Bay are okay. Barry Town United have progressed, but everyone else, just non-existent. And of course now only 4 sides in Welsh football going to Europe. It does cause a little bit of a problem. It's gone significantly backwards, more so than I thought. And the fact that Bangor City sold all the players for peanuts baffled me. So that's where we're going to leave it. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Were you surprised just how bad it was? Or did you expect it? Was I maybe being a bit naive? Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do the 5 years in the future again next week, but by selling all of the Bangor City players for their true value first, rather than the nonsense that Bangor City actually sold them for, and see what they can do with double the amount of money instead. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments. Please do chuck a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed this look back. If you haven't already, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on, because FM22 is just round the corner. We've announced our plans video up in the eye above, and we're going to have loads of content over here. So come and get involved. Follow us on Twitch too for regular live streams. They'll continue throughout next week. And a massive thank you for watching, your continued support as always. And now I'm off to sulk about how my dynasty's been ruined. I'll see you next time.